Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome to VJ's World. We are going to continue Barber's story. So here is Barber's fifth brother. The Barber's fifth brother, Al-Nashar, had never had such a large amount of money. He bought some glassware in a basket and sat near a tailor's shop to sell them. He started daydreaming about his future of being rich and marrying a princess. While talking to himself, he kicked the basket and all the glasses were broken. Al-Nashir started crying. A rich woman was passing by. She saw him and gave him 500 pieces of gold. At night, the man found a woman at his door asking for help. He set out to help her, but the wicked woman took him to a house where she robbed him and tried to kill him, but the man escaped and later he killed the slaves of the lady. He took his own gold pieces back, but as he was leaving, the police caught him. They thought he was a thief. The judge punished him and took his gold. This was the story of Barber's fifth brother. The Barber's sixth brother. The name of Barber's sixth brother was Sashabak. He tried to use the money which he got in his inheritance. When the 100 dirham were almost finished, he tried to become a servant at a house. One day he was invited by his master to dinner. Sashabak was surprised when he found that there was no real dinner, but an imaginary one. He kept pretending till the end. But when the master offered him imaginary water, he became angry. Sashabak kicked the owner of the house. The owner of the house became very pleased with him and made him the caretaker of his house. He spent 20 years of his life there. When his master died, the government got all his property because he had no sons or daughter. Sashabak was again left poor. Thus ended the stories of Barber's brother. The caliph was very happy and gave him a huge reward. Here we are going to change the story, and it is a family's story. A man, his wife, and their 2 sons were ordered by the king to leave the city. They went to the judge and begged him to let them stay, but he said king's command was final. So they set out on a journey in a boat. For 3 days, nothing happened. On the 4th day, a storm hit their boat and they were thrown on the waves. The mother and the first son were able to get on a raft, but the father and the second son could not find it. The second son was picked up by a ship and the waves threw the father on a desert island, where he landed and made ablutions. Whenever he stood up to pray, the sea creatures came out and prayed like him. On the 4th day, he heard a voice that said that soon he would get the things he had lost. Soon his 2 sons and wife were brought back to him. He thanked God and started to live happily with his family. The story of the barber. During the reign of Caliph Mustansir Billah, there were 10 robbers who stole from people traveling on the roads in the neighborhood of Baghdad. After a while, the Caliph got to know about them. He ordered his chief of police to arrest them before the feast of Bairam. All the 10 robbers were caught before the deadline. They were presented before the Caliph, who ordered that they should all be killed. When the executioner reached the last man, he stopped. When the Caliph told him to cut the neck of the last person, the executioner told the Caliph that he had already cut the neck of 10 robbers. Then the Caliph looked at the last man, and the man told him that he was not a robber but a barber, but also told the Caliph about his 6 brothers who had quite different and unusual habits. The Caliph pardoned him and let him live. So, the name of this story is The Genie in a Bottle. Once upon a time, there was a fisherman. Every day he went to the sea and cast his net only 4 times in a day. One day, when he threw his net for the first time, he found no fish. The second time, he met with the same fate. The third time, he still did not get anything. So he prayed to God and threw the net for the 4th time. This time, he found a sealed bottle. When he opened the bottle, a genie appeared. First he was afraid of the genie, but then he spoke. The genie told the fisherman that he was closed inside the bottle because he did not obey Allah. So the Prophet of Allah, the King Solomon, put him in a bottle and threw him into the deep sea. The genie told the fisherman that he had decided to kill the person who would release him. So the genie asked him how he would like to die. The fisherman told the genie that he could not believe that a genie could enter a bottle. To show him, the genie went into the bottle. The fisherman quickly shut the bottle and threw it back into the sea. Story of the Merchant. There was once a Christian merchant in the city of Cairo in Egypt. His father was a corn dealer, but his son continued to carry on his business. One day, when he was in the public corn market at Cairo, which was frequented by those who deal in all sort of grain, a young and handsome merchant, richly dressed and mounted upon a donkey, came to him. The corn merchant told him that a large amount would cost him 3,000 dirham of silver. However, the young man said he did not have the money with him. The Christian merchant, however, refused to give him the corn on credit. It was later revealed that the young man was the king's son, so the Christian merchant was punished and all his wealth was taken. The story name is The Three Apples. Once upon a time, there was a man who loved his wife very much. Once she fell ill and wanted to eat an apple, so her husband went to the market to buy apples for her. But he couldn't find apples in the local market. Then he bought the apples at a very high price from the town. However, when he got back, the wife refused to eat those apples. The man went to his shop. In the day, he found that the slave was eating that apple which he bought for his wife. When he asked the slave if he had stolen the apple, he said that the mistress had given him the apple. The man became very angry and shut his shop and rushed home. There he found that there were only 2 apples. He asked his wife where the third apple was. She said that she did not know. So he thought the servant was telling the truth. He got so angry that he killed his wife. His son then told him that a servant had stolen the apple. The man realized his mistake, so he went to the caliph and asked for punishment. However, the caliph decided that the slave was to blame, so he was punished. The 7 Brothers. Once there was a man who had 7 sons. Their mother was about to give birth to a new member of the family. He also had 7 horses. The sons told the father that if this time they had sister, only then they would stay, otherwise they would leave. When the baby was born, it was a boy. So all the 7 brothers left their home. They also took their baby brother with them. During the journey, they left the youngest one in a well, thinking that he would die. Later, he was rescued by a caravan, and when he grew up, they sold him to a rich family as a slave. The young man was such a good worker that soon his master loved him as a son. He set him free. The young man went away and came to a fountain inhabited by a serpent. Nobody could draw water from his fountain because the serpent had once eaten a woman. Now this time the princess fell into the fountain. The young man killed the serpent. Now the king married his daughter to the young man and named him his son. The wedding feast lasted 7 days.